Eala beats Yastremska anew. Filipino tennis star Alex Eala survived a thrilling three-set battle against Ukraine's Diana Yastremska, 7-5, 4-6, 7-5, in her main draw debut at the BNP Paribas Open on Saturday, March 7, 2026, PH time. Eala beat Yastremska again, following her earlier triumph over the Ukrainian in Eastbourne last year, improving her head-to-head record to 2-0. The victory, which lasted 2 hours and 43 minutes under the windy desert sun, marks Eala's successful main draw debut at this prestigious WTA 1000 event. Eala beats Yastremska anew, a story of grit, growth, and a rising star. The sun hung low above the stadium, casting a golden glow across the hard court as spectators filled the stands with anticipation. It was the kind of evening when tennis felt larger than the game itself, when every serve, every rally, every point carried the weight of a story unfolding. On one side of the net stood Alexandra Eala, the young Filipino sensation whose steady rise through the ranks had captured the attention of fans around the world. Across from her stood Diana Yastremska, a powerful and experienced Ukrainian player known for her explosive ground strokes and fearless aggression. This wasn't the first time the two had met, and that history hung in the air like electricity. Tonight, Eala would beat Yastremska again, but the path to that moment would test every ounce of her resolve. The calm before the storm. Eala stood near the baseline, bouncing lightly on her toes. The rhythmic thud of tennis balls from the warm-up echoed through the stadium. Her left-handed forehand flowed smoothly as she traded shots with Yastremska across the net. From the stands, the difference between the two players was clear. Yastremska was all power, fast swings, fierce expressions, and a presence that seemed to demand attention. Eala, by contrast, carried herself with quiet focus. Her movements were precise, her eyes steady, her breathing calm. But inside, she knew exactly what she was facing. Yastremska's game was dangerous. If the Ukrainian found her rhythm early, rallies could end in seconds. Winners would fly past before Eala even had a chance to react. The key Eala knew was patience. Patience and belief. As the umpire called time, the crowd settled into silence. The match began. First set, surviving the fire. Yastremska served first, and immediately the stadium felt the impact of her power. Her opening serve thundered down the tee. A murmur rippled through the audience. The next rally lasted only 3 shots. Yastremska blasted a forehand winner into the corner. Eala nodded to herself. Stay calm. When it was her turn to serve, she focused on placement rather than speed. Her first serve curved wide, pulling Yastremska off the court. A quick backhand into the open space gave Eala her first point. But the rallies grew longer. Yastremska attacked relentlessly, trying to dictate every exchange. Forehands screamed cross-court. Backhands cracked down the line. Yet Eala refused to panic. Instead, she absorbed the pressure. She returned one ball. Then another. And another. In the 5th game, the momentum shifted. Yastremska unleashed a massive forehand, but Eala chased it down, sliding into a defensive backhand. The ball floated deep. Yastremska stepped forward to finish the point, but rushed her shot. The ball sailed long. Break point. The crowd sensed it. The next rally stretched to nearly 20 shots. Yastremska attacked again and again, but Eala's defense held firm. Finally, the Ukrainian tried to end it with a down-the-line forehand. The ball clipped the net and dropped out. Eala had the break. The stadium erupted. From that moment on, the tone of the set changed. Yastremska's aggression began to feel desperate rather than dominant. Errors crept into her game. Eala stayed composed. When the set ended, the scoreboard read, Eala 6, Yastremska 4. 1 set to the young challenger. Second set, the counterattack. Champions rarely fade quietly. And Yastremska was no exception. She stormed into the second set with renewed intensity, swinging even harder than before. Her forehand became a weapon of pure force, ripping through the court with frightening speed. The results were immediate. Eala struggled to keep up as Yastremska surged to a 3-0 lead. The crowd could feel the momentum shifting. On the changeover, Eala sat quietly, towel draped over her shoulders. Her coach's voice echoed in her mind. Trust your game. She closed her eyes for a moment. Then she returned to the court. The next game lasted nearly 10 minutes. Every point was a battle. Yastremska attacked, Eala defended, countered, redirected. Finally, after saving 3 break points, Eala held serve. It felt like a small victory, but it mattered. Still, Yastremska refused to slow down. Her power carried her through the rest of the set. When it ended, the score told the story. Yastremska 6, Eala 2. 1 set each. Everything would come down to the final set. The deciding set, where champions are made. Night had fallen completely now. The stadium lights illuminated the court like a stage. This was the moment both players had been fighting for. The final set began with tension so thick it felt tangible. Eala struck first. Using sharp angles and clever drop shots, she forced Yastremska to move more than before. The Ukrainians' heavy hitting became less precise as fatigue crept in. Eala led 2-0. But the match was far from over. Yastremska responded immediately, hammering 2 returns past Eala to break back. Her roar echoed through the stadium. 3-3. Then 4-4. Every game felt like a mini-war. Fans leaned forward in their seats, barely breathing during the longest rallies. At 5-5, the match reached its defining moment. Yastremska served. The first rally stretched to 24 shots, each player pushing the other to the limit. Eala chased down impossible balls, sliding across the baseline, turning defense into offense. Finally, she unleashed a backhand down the line. Winner. Break point. The crowd rose to its feet. Yastremska tossed the ball for her serve, tension visible in her shoulders. The rally began. 3 shots. 6-10. Then Yastremska fired a forehand into the corner. Eala sprinted, reaching it at the last second. With a flick of her wrist, she sent a looping cross-court shot deep into the court. Yastremska tried to respond, but mistimed it. The ball flew long. Eala would serve for the match. The final game. The stadium buzzed with anticipation. Eala bounced the ball slowly. Twice. 3 times. Her first serve landed perfectly on the line. 15-0. The next rally ended with a clever drop shot. 30-0. 2 points away. But Yastremska wasn't done fighting. She blasted a return winner. 30-15. Then forced an error. 30-30. The tension returned instantly. Eala took a deep breath. Her serve kicked wide, pulling Yastremska off the court. A forehand into the open space followed. Match point. The crowd rose again. 1 final point. The serve came in fast. Yastremska returned deep. A rally began, 15 shots of pure determination. Then Eala saw her opening. She stepped forward. Backhand down the line. The ball kissed the sideline. Winner. Victory. For a moment, Eala simply stood there. Then the realization hit. She had done it again. She raised her arms as cheers exploded around the stadium. Across the net, Yastremska approached with a respectful nod, acknowledging the battle they had just fought. The handshake was brief but genuine. Both players knew how hard the match had been.